You are now listening to Out of the Blank.
So here's a long time awaited podcast. I'm with Dawn Thomas. Is it Thomas Dawn or is it Dawn Thomas?
It's Dawn Thomas Shockley.
Dawn Thomas Shockley. And you've lived an incredible life. I mean, just from the things you've told me. If you don't mind me asking.
You can ask me anything you like.
What's your professional title? I guess you would say housekeeper?
Housekeeping.
Okay. You've had so many professional jobs. Like, just give me every single one you've done. That, like, you really, you know.
How far back you want to go?
As far as you're willing to tell me, I guess. But I mean, I know you've told me you've done arm wrestling.
Yep.
You were a professional arm wrestler. So let's start there. What do you mean by professional arm wrestler? Because as a kid, that's like a you tell your parents that, and your parents are like, okay, yeah. You want to be an astronaut too, I bet, right? And you want to be the president. Yeah, parents would always joke with the kids come up with the stupidest ideas for jobs. But professional arm wrestling, that's got to be a story to tell. You should have just became a kindergarten teacher and told every kid, hey, I was a professional arm wrestler. So how did that even get started? What made you even want to do that?
The guy that I was dating at the time, he was into it. We started training together. He was training me the different moves and the different hands, different grips and stuff like that, and then next thing I know, I'm in the competitions and I'm arm wrestling people all around up and down the East Coast and as far out as Wisconsin. We were going to tournaments.
And you were probably going up against competitors that were twice your size. I mean,
size doesn't matter.
I noticed that, Dawn. Yeah, especially no offense, but looking at you, you're not the biggest person in the world. So it's like knowing that you were professional arm wrestling. That's all going to be technique.
Size and muscle don't matter. It's the technique and the move.
And when you say you were professional, like you won championships, you won competitions at least.
Oh yeah, you train a couple days before. And get your arm strength up.
So what'd you do, like exercise-wise?
A lot of wrist curls, a lot of bending, twisting, elbow exercises to get this muscle with like 45 pounds.
Did you work out your other arm at all, or just do?
Just my right.
Really? Did that cause any atrophy, like in your body? Just like because there was a movie that came out a long time ago called Lady in the Water, and the dude did an experiment where he just lifted weights on one side of his body, leg curls with one leg, bicep curls with one arm, and his one whole side of his body was jacked and the other side was all skimpy, and he was doing like a project on it.
I was pretty jacked up to begin with, so it's
You're ripped on, yeah. We know. You rub it in.
Yeah.
But
it was
for traveling competitions, like that's a thing. I've never even heard of a arm wrestling competition. I've seen the ones on Facebook where the idiots slap each other and do that and see who can like get knocked out or something.
No, that's nothing like this.
But this had you won cash money, prizes.
We won trophies. We won certificates. We won hotel stays. It was all competition. For fun, more
I know it's
professional,
for fun. This
but
is like,
it got to be fun, You're
talking to a kid that dreamed of like being a superhero, so it's like when you hear this, it's like that's like a job that would have been awesome as like a kid. I would have thought of that. Like I want to be a professional arm wrestler. My parents would have been like, all right, shut up, get an education. I mean, that makes me want to look up professional sewing or something, just to like some type of talent, that I might be good at and win money at.
Yeah, try it. It started when I was dating this guy, and I would watch him at the tournaments and stuff like that. And it got to be interesting, and he kind of like took me under his wing, and he trained me how to do the different moves and the different positionings of your hands and your, especially, I forgot to tell you about the feet and the legs.
Feet were important in arm wrestling?
Oh yeah, you got to curl your one foot like around the leg of the table so you don't get pushed or
Isn't that
pulled
illegal
over.
though? Because I remember whenever I would get a grip down onto table or something, they call that cheating.
No, you use your feet as, I don't know if I could show you. See, when you grip here, and your pad would be on both sides. One pad would be hit for your opponent, the other pad would be for you. So when you come back down this way, if you get caught in this type of position, you don't break your wrist.
And I've seen videos of people messing up and popping out their elbow or something.
Oh, yeah.
Did that ever happen in a competition?
Yes. I broke a girl's arm up in New Hampshire.
Now, obviously it wasn't on purpose, but...
No, it was horrible. You could hear that snap and like her arm just went...
Did immediately you let go and stop?
Oh yeah. I broke her arm like 2 inches below the elbow.
It always feared me. I used to arm wrestle and joke around with my friends all the time, but then when I saw a Tosh.0 video where a woman popped her elbow joint out of socket, and it deterred me from even trying to even do it anymore. It's like I can't even get the force into the arm anymore.
It happens.
And that didn't stop you, though.
No, it didn't stop me.
It definitely freaked you out, probably. You're probably thinking about it that
definitely
night. You went to like a
freaked
Denny's that
me
night
out.
after celebrating, and then you were thinking about that. Like, hey, this is pretty good pancakes, but I just watched a woman get her elbow popped.
Yeah, it freaked me out for a little while.
Did it it didn't stop you at any moment? I'm not saying permanently, but just for a little while, like a month or so?
No.
You might have thought about something else?
No, every other week we had competitions.
Oh, so you're going all the time?
Yeah.
And how many did you win did you win more than you lost?
Yes.
When you did go?
Yes.
That's crazy, just because you're not a big person yourself, so... And in my mind, when I think of arm wrestling, I think you would have to lift for your body weight, at least your arm, as much as possible, just trying to get that one arm super, super strong. And I know you said you've exercised using, like, I'm guessing pulls, small dumbbells on one arm, not really working out your other one, and that doesn't cause any atrophy, which is ridiculous in my mind, because being a fitness person like I am, they talk about if you don't work out your one muscle as much as your other one, your body's going to atrophy after a while. And you said that you didn't experience any of that.
No, during this time of this arm wrestling, I was also setting pile, lifting up 50-pound bags.
Oh, so you were getting the full...
Yeah.
Yeah, you weren't just working out, but just for that set of thing you were.
Yeah.
Your coach, obviously had a coach for a little... Was he a personal trainer, like designed especially for arm wrestling, or was he just a fitness guy that knew how to work out certain parts? He was just some guy.
He was my boyfriend, and he was into it for a long time. He went to the Worlds a couple times.
Did he have a magazine subscription?
No.
You think that's what it would be?
We were usually doing the competitions in bar setting scenes type thing, bars and clubs. But when we went to the bigger competitions, when we went to the nationals, that would be at a convention center. That was out in Rising Sun, Michigan.
And that did it start off as like a party trick kind of type thing where you're like, oh, hey, I'll arm wrestle you for a beer or something?
No.
Because you think that would happen a lot in a bar setting.
No. One big group of us. I mean, we were like family when we got together for these competitions. Also be people from New Jersey, New York, down here in Maryland, Virginia. People were coming from all over for the competitions.
Any people from like any other like countries or?
We had, when we went to the nationals, there was some Russian people there. There was some German people there.
Were they jacked up on steroids?
They looked like they were, yeah.
They weren't just training one side of their body; they were training everything.
Yeah.
The muscles in their neck. I don't know how you get those bigger, but
they all lost.
They all lost.
Yes.
America won.
Yeah, this is why I'm saying it's not the muscle; it's the technique.
Teach me the trick to break someone's wrist. I'm kidding, don't do that. That would freak me out.
You don't want to know that. You do not want to know that.
Is there just a special way that if you try and turn, you could end up snapping somebody's wrist? Has anybody ever tried to hurt you while you were arm wrestling?
No.
There's not those types of people, because you hear those sore losers in boxing that, like an MMA fight, they try and hurt you if you're not going to give up.
It does happen. I'm not going to lie. It does happen where you have somebody that really wants to kick your ass.
And after you hurt somebody, or have you ever had anybody be really like sore loserish type when you beat them?
Not really, no.
That's good. I mean, I guess I wouldn't be that hostile for arm wrestling competition.
Us girls got along.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was the guys that were more intimidating.
Well, that's a more alpha male type thing when you look at the perspective of male and female.
Yeah.
Just because guys want to be the big tough ones, and if you're losing an arm wrestling competition, you're not feeling too proud about yourself.
Yeah, you'd have to look up a couple on the internet.
For me, I work at a gym, and I also like work out all the time. So everyone's trying to get as big as possible, and there's people like me that try and stay as lean and just fit as possible. But that's like as a guy, the whole thing is trying to be bigger than somebody else. It's the same reason for football, where there's guys weighing like 300 pounds that are just monsters. Like you compare me to one of them, I'm like the size of their bicep.
You're a toothpick compared to them.
Yeah, they're massive guys. They just eat all the time, and they're like, I'm just here to be bigger than the other guy. It's like, okay. You constantly kept up with me while you were out in the hospital and like went through major arm surgery, which we need to get down to the fact of what exactly occurred. Yeah, I know you got metal put into your arm.
Oh, that's when I broke my arm.
That just happened.
No, that's when this happened.
What happened recently where you had major arm surgery and you were out for so
my
long?
ulnar nerve. It was pinched.
And that's a common thing, because I know they talk about that in the fitness, like if you don't stretch your arms and all that type of stuff, you can accidentally get that nerve pinched behind one of your bones, or it gets stuck behind
your elbow.
something, and the only way is to either get it surgeryed or they can have a doctor try and like move it, but it usually never works. They have to end up getting surgery to fix it, and that got you out. Do you think that might have been linked to you being a professional arm wrestler?
It could have been linked to a lot of things.
That's your arm wrestling arm, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you think all the times you arm wrestled and trained and all those, because you have to put your hand in a weird position when you're arm wrestling, that might have caused that nerve to accidentally slip back there and get stuck behind that bone.
And my tile work.
True. And I know when I brought that up to you before, you were like, that never crossed my mind. But I'm like, that's something you got to think about. You should have brought that up to your doctor. He's like, oh, that's what did it.
It could have been. It could have been anything.
You can get it from having pull-ups, or if you're doing bar dips. When you have your arm, it's holding you up. So when you bend down, you bend the actual nerve and the joint in your bones, and it can cause it to slip, because that's the main thing they tell you about. Like I think if you probably look up one of the causes to getting that nerve pinch is one of the exercises would probably be bar dips, just because. But you got to think there's so many things can go wrong. I mean, that's a crazy one to have happen too.
Yeah, my brother had the same. My brother had it done too. He drives forklift all day.
And his arm's bent, like in a driving position.
Yeah.
Now, is there anything you wish to accomplish? Because, I mean, I know you're a housekeeper, just professionally as it is now. We work at the same hotel. But are you just comfortable where you're at? Or
I'm comfortable where I'm at. I don't need to go any further. I've done enough shit in my life.
Yeah. Well, tell me about the shit. That's what we're here for. I want to hear about it all.
Let me see.
I mean, I'm only 20 years old, so you're talking to...
It's like I'm talking to my kid, you know?
Yeah, you're talking to a baby on this earth, practically. Like, I still haven't even experienced the real things out in the world.
Be a biker, and believe me.
Tell me about being a biker. Why are we talking about that?
Nothing will ever surprise you again.
When did you start to become a biker? Just tell me that.
I had a 2008 Harley Davidson. I started on a little Kawasaki at 250. And the guy I was with, the same guy who we did the arm wrestling with, he had a big Yamaha. I don't know what kind it was, but it was a Yamaha. And we'd go out riding. And I just thought one day, I'm tired of looking at the back of your head. Because when you're on the passenger, you don't see anything. It's like you got to look over the shoulder or around the body.
Let me try.
I'm tired of looking at the back of your head. I want a motorcycle. So my boss at the time, my tile setting boss, he had the little Kawasaki.
Yeah.
And he sold it to me. So I learned how to ride a motorcycle on this little Kawasaki. It's basically like riding a bike without pedaling.
Did you ever experience whiskey throttle? I think that's what they call it. The fear of when you're like, they tell you, like, you end up speeding up and you're trying to stop, but you end up turning the throttle even more.
Oh, no.
And that's how people get into those accidents. Like, you see funniest videos or something where the dude pops a wheelie and flies off the back and goes flying into a tree. That's called whiskey throttle.
The first thing that I was taught on that bike was, when you get in trouble, go in neutral. Kick it down in neutral.
My grandfather was a giant, like, Harley Davidson fan, still is. But he owned a bunch of Harleys. The very first ride I ever went on was on a Harley with him. And I remember being...
And all you saw was the back of his head.
Well, I was so little at the time when I first rode with him, he put me on the front in front of him. And because I was so small, so he had to keep me, like, he would go slow, but he would keep, like, we wouldn't be on an actual road, be on, like our street. He would go up and down the street just because I enjoyed that. I had my helmet on, but he would sit there, and he'd basically have his giant, like, football-sized hand on the top of my helmet. And that'd be how he controlled my head. And he'd keep me sitting there, like, kind of a little bit of force down so I'm not moving. But I remember putting my arms around the big gas tank that was in front of me and just holding it and thinking, wow, this is awesome, and trying to look off to the side. But I was like a turtle, basically, because I was so small sitting in this little thing. And I was like, what advice would you give someone, you know, that, and I at this point, I'm a little bit older and was learning how to drive. And I remember I just encountered my very first deer on the road.
Oh my.
And I asked him about that. I was like, hey, because you ride bikes, and I thought about getting one. What would your first thing to be say if I ever ran into a deer while I was on a motorcycle? He goes, I've totaled so many bikes trying to avoid the deer.
Yeah.
And he goes, worst comes to worst, when you hit it on a bike, it's basically that's it. But, you know, whatever happens, happens. But he said if you try and swerve and avoid it, you end up getting more hurt than you actually have. And he said the same thing with a car. You try and swerve. A lot of people that you see in ditches and stuff with their cars flipped over. He said, if there's a deer in front of you and you're in a car, just hit the deer, take your chances. Because if you try and swerve to avoid it, you're going to end up totaling your car and might get more hurt than, you know, if you can try and stop, sure. But
It's true. It's true. Or you lay it down.
Your bike?
Yeah.
While you're driving down, lay it down. Mm-hmm. See, that scares me because I've seen too many movies where the guys are flying down the road and then they slide off going like 80 miles an hour, but it looks like they're just getting massive rug burning those leather jackets.
That's why you wear the leather jackets.
I just thought it was to look badass while you're on that thing. Did you have a biker bar that you went to?
I didn't drink.
I mean, you don't have to drink to go to a bar.
We went to a lot of bars.
You can be that person that was a non-alcoholic and just sat by the jukebox machine like the Foz. Hey.
We went to a lot of bars, but we didn't drink. Mike and I didn't drink at the time.
So you just didn't...
So
Did you ride in a biker gang?
Our quote-unquote gang is Lehigh Valley Hawks.
Lehigh Valley Hawks. And that was just a friend thing. It wasn't like you weren't rolling around with chains.
No, we weren't like the pagans or the warlocks or, you know, that type of stuff.
Like the type you see on the TV, the stereotypical biker.
Yeah, we weren't like that. We were more like the wild hogs.
The wild hogs, that's great, yeah.
We were more like the wild hogs. We get together and we go all different kinds of runs and stuff like that, like poker runs.
Any runs, like a nature trip you took one time? Like the whole point of Wild Hogs was they went out to go take this epic trip before they got too old. Did you do any of that? Like,
oh yeah, we did an epic trip. Yes.
What was this epic trip?
We started off up in PA. We brought the bikes down here, and we trailered the bikes down here. We parked the trailer, and from here, we went down to the tip of Florida, down through the Keys. Every state, all the way down to the Keys, came back around the other side of Florida, the Gulf side, and rode out to Mexico, to New Mexico.
Why'd you decide to go to New Mexico?
We just...
Would you get to Florida and just decide you wanted to go even farther?
No, it was not really a planned trip. We were just both off of work for like 3 weeks.
So you're like,
so
let's
we
just
went
do
through
this.
28 states in 21 days.
Is there any beautiful sights that you saw where...
The Tennessee mountains.
Talked about this multiple times on my podcast with people. It's a common question I like to ask. It's called a transcendental moment, or a lot of people say epiphany. But a transcendental moment meaning like you saw, like some people see a sunset, some people see, you know, something where everything clicks. You're like, this is what life's about. Did you experience that on your trip where you saw
a lot of times
a beauty?
a lot of times.
Is there any one that you can describe to me?
Coming down the Smoky Mountains, going in the Smoky Mountains.
Was it the feel in the air just...
The air was different. The scenery was different. When we went, it was kind of like toward the end of fall, but coming into December. So the leaves on the trees were...
Just turning orange?
They were orange and red and browns and yellows. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. And then my favorite part was that going through the mountains and you have the leaves on the ground. You look in your mirror and you see the leaves fluttering past, as you're driving past. That was pretty cool. I liked that. Up in Canada.
You went to Canada too?
Oh, yeah.
Did you run into the Mounties?
No.
No? They didn't try and chase you on their horses?
No.
Offer you any syrup?
No.
Oh.
No.
First thing I would look for is a Mountie.
We put, how many miles did we put on? Close to 4,000 miles.
Did you sell the bike afterwards?
No.
Oh.
No.
Here's a slightly used bike. I just rode it 4,000 miles, and I think I'm done.
I had, on my bike, I had over 63,000 miles on my bike.
Good God, Dawn. How much did it have when you bought it?
7.
You put some miles on it for sure.
It was a brand new bike, not 1 mile on it, still in the bubble wrap.
Do you still, I know you don't have bikes anymore, do you?
No.
Do you have that passion still for riding?
I'll never be able to ride again.
Why?
For one, because of my heart.
Yeah.
Of course, my arm now. It's my blood pressure. Sometimes I get skittish even being in the car.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Do you ever still kind of miss it a little bit?
I miss my bike a lot.
That's a big fear for me. My passion, working out and doing fitness stuff. My fear is that I lose that passion. Like might hurt myself one day. I know I won't be able to keep it up forever, but it's just like that fear. It's like I still enjoy it kind of. So it's like, it's a little hobby. So I'm trying to get into podcasts and finding out these interesting things about people.
If you ever get a bike, it doesn't have to be a Harley. It doesn't have to be, if you ever get a bike, a motorcycle, first place you got to go is Deal's Gap, the Dragon's Tail. The Dragon's Tail is 314 turns and 11 miles.
Holy crap.
And it is awesome.
Just beautiful sights? Because there's no way that has to be
You
fun
got no
turning
time to look at sights. You got the road.
All right, were you going fast down this?
You can't go fast.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I don't see the fun in that.
Just the turns.
Because you live out in the middle of nowhere, so it's like I'm coming back here and it's going from 65 to 35, and then there's nothing but turns everywhere, and I'm like, this sucks. There's nothing to look at either.
This was great. We were there a couple times just to go down to the tail.
And it wasn't that far of a trip, so you could easily take a 20-minute drive down there, basically.
No, it would be like a 4-hour trip.
That's a trip and a half, Dawn.
We were riding 18 hours a day a couple times. A lot of times.
What were you living off of to stay up that long?
My work. My tile setting business.
No, I meant like, what were you taking? Energy drinks? What?
No, it's once
Crack?
you get on a bike, it's a totally different feeling. You own that.
Like street bikes, and you see those people that fly in between cars.
Those are assholes.
Yeah, obviously, but just the fact that you get tunnel vision when you're on those things. You don't see anything around you, and when you're on a bike, you think you can do anything.
No, when you're on a bike, you got to watch everybody and everything.
You definitely become more aware, but you got to realize, like, you feel like you're empowered. You can slip right in between. Oh, this traffic's in my way. You can go right through that.
Yeah, those are the assholes.
Yeah, you got to think about all the other people on the road too. I mean, all the guys not paying attention on their cell phones. I can see where you'd definitely be more aware. You probably see 3 steps ahead at that point.
Oh yeah. It's crazy being on a bike, and the things you see. Oh man, every year we went down to Washington D.C. for the Rolling Thunder, which we just heard the other day that they're trying to shut it down. Now, Rolling Thunder has been around for over 30 years. It's for the Vietnam vets, and it's kind of like a political, non-violent get together. Millions of bikes go down to Washington. Millions. And it's like a silent protest of what they did to our Vietnam vets. And it's to honor the Vietnam vets that died, lost their lives, are hurt. Our demonstration was going down Pennsylvania Avenue right in front of the White House, just riding past it. And it got to, the last year we went down there, it got to be, there was 750,000 bikes there. And to converge on the Pentagon parking lot, we would take up that parking lot. We would take up...
kind of like the car show when it comes down.
It's a hell of
a lot bigger, yeah.
Oh, a lot bigger. A lot bigger.
And that's just a memorial for all the people that lost their lives. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to take it down?
They're trying to shut it down, yeah.
Why? Is there any specific reason?
Something to do with the Pentagon and the police. That they don't have the time or the patience for when the bikers go down there.
A lot of those older folks that come down there, they're very respectful. Especially we have Bike Week that comes down to our town, and they're way more respectful than the kids that we have come down here.
Oh, yeah.
Those little H2OI cars, the little international ones, little stickered all up and everything. I mean, those guys tear up our streets, and then the biker guys leave it pretty clean. Even when they stay at the hotel, they leave it pretty clean.
Yeah. Yeah, but the things you see... like the one out in Sturgis. We've never been to Sturgis. We never got to go. You see a lot of shit. A lot of shit.
Drugs?
Well, I'm sure there's drugs being going on, but I'm talking about the people. The costumes they would show up in, or lack of costumes.
Those are just wacky people.
I mean...
You probably met some characters.
Oh,
on your character.
The people are crazy. I mean, I've got a picture on my phone when we were down in Washington, and I had my chaps on, and this pair of panties that said, "Wanna ride?"
Good job. Might be learning a little too much about you here.
And people were like, "Oh, let me get a picture of you. Let me get a picture of you." And I was like, "All right, here you go." Strike a pose for her and shit.
That's funny.
You'd have some of the girls just walking around with dots on their tits, half naked and shit. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, it's fun though. It's fucking crazy.
I bet it was a blast.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people talk about Burning Man, the characters you see there too. You ever been to Burning Man?
No.
That's something I definitely want to do. People say they reach like a spiritual type of experience when they're going on there, mostly because they're on acid or something, but it's the fact that like you're in a desert, it's super hot during the day, and you see people painting each other, you see like all this weird stuff, and
like Easy Rider.
Yeah, but it's like you're in a Beatles song or something. Like people are tripping out and watching this giant statue of a man burn, and it's just at night in the desert. It's like the weirdest vibe, and that's what. I haven't experienced anything where, I've been on camping trips before, but I want to definitely one day take a giant camping trip out into like a nice part of the mountains or somewhere and just stay and like with a couple of friends and just, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Live.
We did a lot of that too. We did a lot of camping.
I mean, you just packed up on your bike in tents and rode off.
Basically,
Did you stay in the Smoky Mountains at all?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Specific frights that you had down there? Because you said you had the transcendental moment, like where you saw the leaves of the trees, but did you have any scary moments where you were like, that was close?
The animals.
Bears?
We came across a bear, a bear, a lot of deer up there, in there. That's why I said when you're on a bike, you have to watch way ahead of you, and you can usually spot an animal. You either slow down or put it down, one or the other.
Yeah, deers are probably your biggest fear, especially when on a bike, because they'll just tackle right into you. And they'll clip you over.
Yep. I've seen it happen.
Have you ever had a major accident on a motorbike?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't major, but to me it was major.
What was it?
Down in Florida, at the Boca Raton, we were leaving the Harley Davidson dealer, and it just started to dry up from a rain. and we were coming down the highway, and all of a sudden my bike ass end just went out on me, and I curled up behind the tank and I just rode her out. I must have slid maybe 75 feet until I stopped. And Mike, he was ahead of me, so he didn't know what was going on until he saw me on the ground.
Yeah, turned around and just saw you there.
Yeah. So he turned around, he came running down to me. I was okay, I was shaken up as hell.
Yeah.
But I was okay. So at that point, I was like almost afraid to get back on the bike. And he was yelling at me, "Get your ass back on that fucking bike or you'll never ride again." So of course I got myself together, got on the bike. We rode down about a mile or so and we pulled off. And I got off that bike and I just went to the ground. I went to my knees.
He was trying to get you out of the state of shock.
Yeah. So he bent down over at me and he said, "Are you all right?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm trying to light a cigarette. My hands are like shaking like fucking hell. I couldn't light my cigarette." He said, "Relax, calm down, you're okay." He said, Are you hurt anywhere?" And I kind of like doing, feeling myself, He said, "I don't feel anything really broken or anything." I had a little brush burn on my knee, and I think I broke the growth plate in your hand. Mm-hmm. It's called a growth plate. That bitch swelled up like 4 times its size.
Softball size, right?
Yeah. He said, "You want to go to the hospital?" I said, "No." I said, let's ride. Let's just keep on going. I said, "We're not going home and we're not going to the hospital. Because if it is broke, they're going to put a cast on me and I won't be able to ride."
That much of a passion for riding.
Oh yeah. Checked out the bike. There was a little scratch on the Derby. It's the cover on the engine. There was a little scratch on that, and she was fine.
Got lucky.
It was how you take it down. If you get into trouble like that, where the bike, you lose the end of your bike, and you have to put it down, or you end up getting put down, you curl up like a ball and just ride it out.
That's the same thing they tell NASCAR drivers when they get into a car accident, to let go of the steering wheel. Keep your hands up in the air or like up by your head, because if you hold on to the steering wheel, it's going so fast, the steering wheel immediately turns in either left or right direction. It'll snap your wrists.
Yep.
See, that makes me think that I don't want a bike now, just because, not the fear of that, but knowing even when I'm driving down the road and a piece of like trash is flying in the wind and it randomly flies by the window, I duck.
Or a bug.
Like you think it was coming at you, like it's going to hit you, but you realize, wait a minute, there's a windshield in front of me and there's a car. So it's like, yeah, it's not getting in. But on a feeling on a bike, imagine if a bird or something just flew out of nowhere right near me. I'd stick my hands off the handlebars. Next thing I know, the bike crashes into the side of the road.
Oh, the bugs were so bad down there. Oh my word, they were so bad.
You ever get one right in the mouth?
Yeah, many times. Many times.
Did you wear sunglasses?
I had a helmet.
You had a helmet with a visor?
I still have my helmets.
And I bet that thing was covered in bugs.
We were down in, where were we? Gator territory.
Florida?
Yep.
Yeah. Did you ever run into a gator?
Yes.
Did you ever hit one?
No.
It had to be a fear. Just one just randomly slides down the middle of the road, just pops down right in front of you.
You have to stop.
Obviously. It's like hitting a tank.
It's like, you can't swerve. Of course, you can't swerve around.
It's a baby dinosaur.
And we came up to many of them, and they would just kind of like look back at us and just keep on walking,
I feel like you'd be one of those people that'd be like, hang on, I got some lunch left over. And then they're trying to feed it. Don't get back on the bike. Hang on. Trying to get a picture. Trying to take a selfie with this gator.
They were big. But the bugs, oh my God, bugs. Green bugs. I mean, the size of $50.
That had to suck if you just left the hotel and you were like, we're going to go out to eat. And then you, like, on the ride there. And then once you finally get to the restaurant, you're like, I'm already full on bugs. Thank you. And you're just covered in bug debris.
Try to pick them out of your teeth.
Just want to keep a pack of toothpicks handy.
No, I have a full face. I have a full face. My little head.
We will see. I was going to order the main reason when I see at like 2 o'clock in the morning, you're on Amazon if you're not sleeping like me, and you start looking at some dumb stuff. And I started looking at bikes, and then I was looking at a motorcycle helmet, and then they had an Alien versus Predator helmet. It was the Predator dude's face, whole giant, the clicking
They got
one.
some pretty neat helmets.
Dude, yes. I was going to order it. I was like, $800. I'll just save that for later. Like I'm going to actually end up getting a bike. I'll just ride around with it in my car. And I'm like, why are you wearing a helmet in the car? My mom bought it for me.
Crash test dummy.
Keeps me safe.
Crash test dummy.
Did you ever ride out in the rain?
Yeah, many times we got caught out in the rain.
Now, did you ever purposely go out and ride in one?
No.
You tried to stay away from that as much as possible.
Yeah.
Was there ever a time you ever... Because I remember when I was a kid, I used to be on my bike and ride in the middle of a thunderstorm. Not like purposely, but get caught in it, and you're trying to beat the thunderstorm home, like race it. You ever done anything like that on your bike? Where you're trying to beat the rain or beat the storm?
Yep. Coming home from one of the road trips that we did back home in PA, we got caught in a torrential downpour. And we were on the interstate, I-95. We had to pull over. We couldn't see. So we ducked underneath the tractor trailer.
The whole ride?
No, we parked.
Oh, okay.
We parked.
I thought, because, I see if I ever take a trip, like, somewhere and it starts raining real bad, I see a motorcyclist hiding behind, like, a big car or something, trying to block off some of the rain, or off to the side where they're trying to get out of, like, where if the rain's coming, like, a certain direction, they're trying to stay as dry as possible. I figured that's what you were talking about.
No, it was bad. But when we took our 21-day trip, that's when we got those big snowstorms down here.
You didn't get caught in the snowstorm, did you? Yeah. So you had to wait, or you had to ride in that?
We rode.
In the snow?
Yeah.
Blizzard?
Yeah. We were caught in between storms.
How freezing were you on that bike?
I have a heated suit.
Oh, you had the life. Because I used to be a jet ski guide, so I had to be on a jet ski out in the rain or out in a storm like that. My jet ski would go 75 miles an hour on the water. It was a supercharged Ultra 220, I think. And that thing was, just to hear when you hit that throttle, and it feels nice and flat. Oh, you'd get 75, no doubt. I would hit that thing right in the morning at 6 in the morning. Nobody's out there. Water's nice and flat. My boss would go, want to go take a first spin real quick? Yes. Go from one side of Ocean City to the other. I'm telling you, that rain that comes down, it feels like bullets. You get hit by that thing. I remember I got hit one time. I swear to God, it knocked me off a jet ski. I remember one time I accidentally killed a seagull. It was in front of me. I'm like, it's going to get up and move. It flew up last minute. I guess they didn't expect me to get that fast to him. And the jet ski, the front of it comes up, hit me dead in the chest. Thank God I was wearing a life jacket, because it hit me. My left arm flipped off the throttle, everything. I almost flipped off the back of the jet ski. And I was like, what just happened? I turn around, this seagull's neck's all twisted, and I'm like, I just killed a bird. I felt so bad, but I was like, he kind of deserved it. The asshole didn't fly up out of the water. But it was like so crazy. It was like one of those moments, you're like, whoa, what just happened?
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. Squirrels do the same damn thing.
Now that I actually think about it, as much as I've rode a jet ski, I probably wouldn't be too bad on a motorcycle. I'm pretty good driving. But it's a lot of it comes down to the same thing, the way you have to turn sometimes and have to keep your kind of body weight in the middle.
If you can ride a bike, you can ride a motorcycle.
I haven't rode a bike in a long time. I have to, put some training wheels on before I went on to a Harley or something.
Well, there's classes you can take.
I thought about doing that. I thought about being a bike cop.
There is classes you can take.
Because I see those days where those state troopers are out there flying down the road, pulling people over on a motorcycle. You're like, yeah, that's awesome. And then you think of those days now where it's hard rain. They're sitting out in the hard rain on their bikes with their giant rain jackets. Like, I hate my life. I hate my life. I hate my life. That's the same thing how jet ski was when it was raining. You were like, I don't want to work today. I don't want to work today, because you're out there in the rain. And people want to jet ski in the rain, I'm telling you. You think, there's a twister outside. They don't want to go out there. We went out there in a lot of stuff. All those little tropical storms we had, when we had those giant hurricanes, Sandy and all those that came down. Yeah, we were out in the water.
That's crazy.
And you're out there for 12 hours sometimes without any food or anything. No, you got to keep a water in your little glove box just so you can hydrate. Because if you have back-to-back trips going out, you're not coming back in. The boss like, just stay out there. We'll bring you food. 8 hours later, where's the food, man? I ordered Belly Busters, and it ends up being like this sub that's back at the shack for like 12 hours. By the time you get home, you're soaking wet. And sometimes you had a wetsuit on. It's like, feels weird taking your wet clothes off. Imagine being completely exhausted coming home. Your whole car's soaked because you were sitting in your car with wet clothing, like a wet, super tight wetsuit. And you're trying to take a shower. You don't even feel like taking it off. You end up giving up when it's like halfway around your ankles when you're sitting in the bathroom. Like, I don't even want to get in the shower at this point. Your hair's all dry from the salt. Oh, it's miserable. It's already giving me anxiety just talking about it.
You'll be all right.
So, besides biking, where are you from exactly? Because I don't even know that about you, and I've known you for a couple of years now.
I'm originally from Hellertown, Pennsylvania.
I think I actually do remember you telling me you're from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Now, your childhood influences, is that any of those that might have led you to biking or anything like that?
No.
Just having the personality of being an adventurous person, I guess. And even with arm wrestling, there was no one in your life that, besides your boyfriend at the time.
Nope.
What did you start out wanting to do?
I worked at McDonald's.
You worked at McDonald's?
I was also a seamstress.
A seamstress?
Yeah, I worked at a company called Saywick Manufacturing. We made bathing suits.
You made bathing suits?
Yeah.
Any popular ones?
Bikinis.
2-piece, 1-piece?
2-piece.
Women?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, women and guys. Yeah, bathing
Guys,
suits.
2-pieces?
Well, the guys had shorts.
Speedos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They shut down years ago. Years ago.
Any passion that you wanted to really pursue as a kid? Like, did you go to college or do anything like that you really were?
Nope, I dropped out.
You dropped out of high school?
Dropped out of high school and joined the Army.
You joined the Army?
Yeah.
Why aren't we talking about that? How have you not told me that?
You didn't ask.
Oh, okay, that is very true. That's a good one. So you joined the Army. Now, at the time, women were just starting to join the Army?
No.
They've been in there for a while?
Yeah.
But they weren't treated equally. I mean, they're still not treated equally now, if you think about it.
No, they're not.
Is
We trained with the guys.
Yeah.
We did everything the guys did.
Do you feel like they were trying to push you out a little bit more, or did they take it easier
They
on you?
definitely had the push.
The push?
Yeah, our company commanders and our drill sergeants, oh yeah.
Just act a little bit rougher towards you?
They were rough on the girls. If the guys could do it, they had the frame of mind where if the guys can do it, the girls can do it. We did the guys' push-ups, we did the guys' runs, we did everything the guys did, we did too.
They treated you equal, though.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't try and, like, basically push you out, like, make you quit.
No.
What did you do in the Army?
I was company clerk.
Now, what does that entail?
The company clerk, did you ever see MASH?
No.
You never saw MASH?
No.
The company clerk takes care of all the paperwork, basically a secretary.
Okay, so you didn't actually experience any.
No, I didn't. My brother did, though.
What did your brother do?
My brother drove tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's what I would have thought you would have done. Drive a tank.
Nope, I was company clerk.
Now, did he choose to do that because blowing stuff up?
My brother's a very weird bird.
Aren't we all, though?
He's...
You're calling your brother weird and you're wearing a Sacagawea shirt in front of him with an eagle landing on her arm. Any important paperwork that you came across as a clerk? Like anything that was like, this needs to be brought to this person immediately? Or like, you know, when you hear about the MIAs or like the emergency reports where someone's lost and they need to immediately be brought to someone so they can go find?
Well, we had a couple people that were MIA that didn't show up for the drills, but they just got docked pay.
Wow. I meant like any war stuff you could tell me that was like, this paper needs to be given to this guy at this time so he can send out these troops.
No, I didn't get any of that stuff.
So how long did you stay in there for?
Technically, I was in for 4 years.
And you just ended up leaving? Just What else did you do after that?
I got a I got it out on a TDP, a trainee discharge program. I was honorably discharged.
For what?
My back went out.
Wow. They made you lift stuff that made your back go out?
We had those packs. We had carry-ons we had to carry, and they would have everything in it. Your canteen, your pot, your helmet, your extra clothes, your weapon, and it weighed a good 75 pounds.
You carried a weapon?
Yeah.
Pistol?
M16.
Oh. How did that feel, Dylan? I feel like if someone backtalked you, you're gonna...
Hey, we had, oh God, during basic, we had a guy go nuts.
What?
We had a guy go nuts.
Shoot up the place?
He tried to shoot one of the officers.
For what?
He just went nuts. We were in a foxhole.
Like a private pile and
Yeah.
just went crazy?
Yeah.
Or did he freak out just because he was in a foxhole or getting yelled at or something?
We don't know. He wasn't in our platoon. He was in Bravo.
Oh, so you just heard about it?
He freaked out and started firing his weapon toward the drill officers.
What'd they have to do?
They knocked him out.
Oh, God.
They knocked him out and sent him home. Sent him to a psychiatric facility.
That just shows you the mental evaluations they should have on these people before they... Because you hear about all these people that come back shell-shocked from war, and they're messed up for the rest of their lives, and they still can't even get medical help from that because of how bad their PTSD is, and they're trying to cope with it. That's something that, a lamp or something breaks, or a light bulb or a loud pop, or something, they can just go off. Something just sends them back to that.
Yeah.
The things they have to see, you're lucky you didn't go over there.
But it was over there.
See, that's what I think about when it comes to, you see Lone Survivor and those types of movies that are basically propaganda to join the military. Have you ever seen Lone Survivor?
No.
Have you ever seen American Sniper? Any of those movies?
I saw American Sniper.
Yeah, all those movies are propaganda. The first hour of American Sniper, where he's like, yeah, I got this many kills, and you see all the cool stuff they're doing, then they show you the epic battle and stuff. At the end of it, you're like, you want to go fight for your country. You want to go do what they were doing. And I think a lot of the reasons why a lot of my friends that graduated high school were like, we're going to be jumping out of tanks and, hitting the ground running with guns and shooting people and capturing all them enemies and, that southern type thing.
My brother didn't see any type of action like that. He was over in Desert Storm. He was in Desert Shield over in Afghanistan. He basically was the armored division. Rode the tanks. What they did over there was basically, I can't say guard the oil fields. The oil fields over there are like burning. He sent pictures home.
He more like just tried to preserve them?
Yeah.
Do you have a different view today towards our American justice system because of your just experience and knowledge of...
Our government's fucked up. I don't even want to get into that.
Are you sure you don't want to get into it? I kind of want to.
Ever since Nixon, Carter, all the presidents that we have ever had, they have always fucked up something somewhere.
Well, the idea of having a president that runs one person running a nation, male or eventually maybe female, it's ridiculous. You shouldn't have one person that governs a whole nation of people. It runs all your decisions, everything comes down to the final thing is on him. Yeah, he can get vetoed, but having the idea of having one man in charge is a little bit ridiculous of a job for anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you hear all these people like, oh, Trump's terrible, oh, Obama's terrible, that whole political thing that always gets brought up. It's impossible for one dude or any body to run a civilization. It's ridiculous. We should all have an agreement towards something. But at the fact, there should be people that deal with different things, a multitude of people that should be running the country, not just one guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have our Secretary of
Trump's
State.
an asshole. I don't like him.
He's a showboat. He's a showboat. That's what he is. He's just there for the popular thing. I don't even think Bernie wanted to be president, to be honest with you. I mean,
Bernie.
You don't remember Bernie Sanders running a long time ago?
No.
Where were you during the election?
I don't know.
The old man, the 1% of the 1%, had like the cotton candy hair.
No,
He had literally no hair on top of his head, but had more hair on the sides of his head than anybody running for office.
I don't remember him.
Oh man, so you know Trump.
Like
he
I
had the
said, where
orange
was
skin.
I?
Yeah, you weren't a hippie growing up, were you?
Sort of. I had the long
Woodstock?
hair. Yeah, kind of like Woodstocky
Did you
type
go to
thing.
Woodstock?
No.
Did you trip on anything?
In high school. In high school, we did acid, and I'm a post-Vietnam baby.
So you were after Vietnam
I was born in
War.
1963,
Mm-hmm.
and Vietnam lasted until what 67 or something like that. So, growing up, Kennedy was shot that year. That was when I was a baby. I think I was 3 or 4 years old when Kennedy got shot. But in high school, we had this math teacher. I don't remember if you would know about this movie type thing that came on every Saturday. It was called Thriller.
Yeah.
You'd see the hand come up out of the sand. We had this math teacher. We dropped some acid. We were techers. Okay, so we got away with a lot of shit.
Geeks, basically.
You know?
Yeah.
We did this acid, and our class was Mr. Kilker.
Oh my God.
Okay, had his arm amputated from the elbow down.
Oh Lord.
So imagine sitting there tripping, and you're thinking Thriller, where that hand comes up out of the sand, and looking at him with no arm, it's like, okay. It was funny.
It was funny?
Yeah, because
that would freak me out.
He would sit there and do stupid shit with his thumb. He would take a pencil and stick it in there and use his arm for to do the stuff on the chalkboard. Like, we would laugh. Oh God, we laughed so fucking hard. It was funny. It was funny.
You didn't get caught?
Oh, he knew we were tripping.
He just didn't care?
He didn't care. As long as we got our work done, he didn't care.
Was he a hippie himself or no?
I don't know what he was.
He was a weird guy.
Yeah, he was cool. Him and our English teacher. Oh, and our psych teacher, Mr. Arnold. He was cool. He'd come up to you when you're tripping or something, or he knew you were doing something. He'd go, "How do you feel about that?" Huh?
Just randomly out of nowhere?
Yeah, just really.
Good God, that had to be fun. See, if you try to do that now, our school system would fry you like an egg. So basically, high school was your tripping days.
I only dropped acid maybe 2 or 3 times. So.
Did you try anything different once you left? Like anything more experience drug-wise?
I did. Oh, that was bad years.
Explain.
The worst chemical that I did was crack cocaine.
How did that even come about?
I don't know even how it started. I tried it once and I was like, yeah, okay, this is pretty cool, because it gave me such a rush where I'd get into like a cleaning mode or something like that and just fucking clean everything.
House was spotless.
House was spotless all the fucking time whenever I did it. And that was with the guy that I was with at that time. He died of an overdose, and once he died of an overdose, that was it. I never touched it again.
It seems like a lot of your stories or your crazy experiences are because of guys you've dated. Just did he push you onto it, or is it just something that you had and you're like, let me try it?
Yeah, it was experimental type stuff.
Then how long did you stay on that?
A couple months.
Did any family members come up to you and like figure it out?
They didn't know.
Nobody figured it out, so you just stopped on your own.
Yep.
It wasn't something that you were like, I need help getting over this addiction or anything. It was just
once he died of an overdose. I heard him. He wasn't home. We had a fight that day, and he left. He ended up at a friend's house, and he overdosed. I think it was in my 30s.
Kids and all?
Jay, we would only do it on the weekends. Because on the weekends, my kid would go to his friend's house.
You're acting like it's a slice of cake.
It was a slice of cake, but it scared the shit out of me.
Crack cocaine.
It scared the shit out of me. Never touched it again.
You're like, yeah, you can have it, a donut every once in a while. Yeah, you can crack on the weekends. Good Lord, it must have been a fun weekend.
It wasn't just me. It was a bunch of people would get together.
Okay, so social. It was more like you were socially obligated to do it.
Yeah.
Like when you see people smoke cigarettes in public, they don't smoke cigarettes. It's because it's a social thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we had people come over to the house. I mean, it was like a big party type of thing on the weekends. Of course, I was working at the time, so I never had to solicit my body out.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was
Just a fun thing to do.
something to do.
Is that the farthest you went was crack cocaine?
Yeah.
You ever try anything else?
Nope.
Any other type of drugs? So just acid, crack cocaine. So you have a couple tattoos on your arms here.
I have more than a couple. I have 13, 15.
Like any specific ones, like somebody you might have lost, or just one that you were really, really like into? Like I know you have a bird or something on your arm with some flowers. Is that something?
This is my mom. My mom loved hummingbirds.
Because I'm almost 21 and I'm trying to get a tattoo. I've been trying to debate for a while what I want to physically put on my body for like it might be my entire life.
In memory of somebody. That always helps.
Family connection too.
Yeah. I have those little ribbons for breast cancer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I have one of those too, in the center of my back.
Any crazy ones that you would like to get removed if you had to?
This one, you can't even see it anymore.
What is it?
It's supposed to be a dragon and a wizard.
Looks like a gargoyle.
That's what I mean.
Why'd you want a dragon and a wizard?
It was cool when I first got it, but over the years, of course, it got
How old were you when you
black.
got it? You got me thinking 20, so if you say something older than 20.
Okay, let me see. This was my first one.
Is it a wolf?
No, it's a unicorn.
You might want to get that one touched up a little bit.
See, it's the head of a unicorn.
Looks like a porcupine with a carrot.
That was my first one. That was when my son was born in 82.
That's your only tattoo that you get removed is the vampire and the dragon.
Yeah.
There's a wizard and a dragon.
It's supposed to be a wizard and a dragon.
What was the idea behind that? Just that was
I
something
like
cool.
wizards and dragons. And fairies.
If I bought you a van that had that painted on the side of it, would you drive around in it?
What, that one that they advertise on TV?
And
with the purple van with the unicorn?
Yeah, and like the giant wall painting on the side where, it's like that older comic book type guy. And
Yeah, I'd probably drive it.
Yeah, that's your personality, and that's what I love.
I'd probably drive it, yeah.
Wayne's World type stuff.
I had a 73 Pinto. It was blue. And I caught up with a friend that does painting, that does cars. So for a case of beer, he put a unicorn on my hood.
No, you drove around in a Pinto with a unicorn on the hood of your car.
Yep. Let me see, I didn't get my driver's license until I was in my 20s.
So it was fresh. Like
Yeah,
you weren't that much
like
old.
73.
Were you driving to school with that?
I was out of school.
But you would run into your friends or go to a party, and that would be on the hood of your car.
Yeah.
No, did you not get made fun of for that?
Huh.
That is awesome. Definitely in the past year, I thought about changing in my own life too. I mean, I'm not too old. I'm not too young.
You're a baby yet.
Yeah, but I still haven't experienced everything I want to experience in this world. There's a lot I want to experience, and it seems like I'm getting a lot of the joy from interviewing people, and especially really nice people that I've met. And it's definitely changed my perspective on life itself, going out into the world. This is usually how I wrap up a podcast. It's just I've started to realize that everyone's got something to tell, and I always say it. Now, the fact that I realized it at such a young age is amazing. But meeting all these nice people, it definitely has changed my way of how I act towards people when I'm out in the world. Holding a door open, striking up a conversation. I was never that type. I always kept my mouth shut. I was very introverted.
Yeah, you were quiet when I first met you.
Yeah, I was very introverted because I was scared because I grew up with really bad ADHD, talking constantly, just not being able to shut up, and constantly everyone telling me, shut up, you're annoying, and no one really liking me because of how much I talked and how stupid I always cracked jokes. And
that was their perspective of you, but you know yourself different.
Yeah, but when people are constantly telling you that, your perspective changes about yourself.
You don't believe anybody what anybody says.
Now I don't because I learned that. But back then I took bullying hard. I was bullied very bad for being, overweight and a little bit stuff like that. That's where my fitness passion comes from. But I used to be super into video games, just closed off from the world. Didn't enjoy it at all. And I mean, I'm starting to enjoy it now just because it mostly started when I had a car. I mean, once you get a car, that freedom is something different. You got the freedom to go anywhere you want. If you want to go experience the world, you want to take a drive, you just don't want to go in school or you don't want to go to work.
Oh, don't take life for granted. It is too short. You could die tomorrow. You got one life. You got to experience whatever you can whenever you can.
Someone offers you crack, you take it.
No.
No. But definitely find the good things in life, because there are good things out there. For anybody out there listening that might be having a hard time. We all get stuck in ruts. I got stuck in a rut at one point where I didn't think it was going to get better, and it got better. So find your passion, your hobby. It doesn't have to be working out. It doesn't have to be video games, but it can be if you want it to be. Just find something that you want to do and make sure you take that step forward to getting it. Right, Dawn?
That's right.
All right. Thanks again, Dawn.
Yep, bye.